You are here because the outside world rejects you.
The Next Mutation. Now, this name may sound familiar considering the show that came out in 1997 of the same title. Peter Laird's blog gives some insight to some of this. It appears they were working on it right after Ninja Turtles 3 by the looks of the dates on some of the conceptual art. The Turtles would have had transformations in this movie, hence the title, and Laird in these blog posts shows some designs of what the Turtles might have looked like and what their new abilities would have been. And he gives some insight to the movie as well. Colored versions of these images can also be found on Turtlepedia, but I'm not sure who colored them. Nevertheless, it appears he posted these over 10 years ago in 2008. One of the posts explaining Donatello's new look and abilities reads, "This is one of the 5 pieces which were drawn by me and inked by Kevin in the late 1990s, I think, as possible new takes on the main characters of the TMNT universe, as part of the development process for the never-filmed 4th live-action TMNT movie. We had put our heads together at the request of the movie studio and came up with some tweaks for the guys. We were calling it TMNT, The Next Mutation. This was before the live-action TV show, which as many of you remember came out in 1997, so this appears to be sometime before 1997 and after the 1993 movie. Turtlepedia has it as work on the project beginning in 1994. Anyways, the post continues with, "The general idea was that the mutagen was continuing to change the Turtles and Splinter and giving them new abilities and new problems." Turtlepedia has it described as the idea behind the film was that the mutagen in the hero's bloodstream was beginning to change with age, which had effects on them. This would have been interesting to see in live action, by the way. Now, Laird's post continues, and it shows an image of Donatello, and that this version of him was to have some type of goggles, headgear, a vest with pouches, a type of bow staff with a strap on it, and the description reads, "Don was given the least obvious mutation, growing telekinetic and telepathic abilities, unfortunately counterpointed by diminishing eyesight, hence the vision-enhancing goggles. We also provided him with an updated techno version of his bow staff." Now Laird closes off the description with, "In retrospect, I'm glad this never happened." The next post was of Leonardo. At the top of the post it read, "Here's another proposed costume redesign for the never-produced 4th live-action movie." Then we get an image of Leo. Leo appears to be wearing a pirate-style headband, but it has a type of design on the top of it. He looks like he's wearing wraps on his forearms and calves, and the belt looks like it was going to go through some changes compared to the other movies. The description reads, "The rising sun bandana on Leo in this version actually comes from a much earlier costume redesign session when we were toying around with changing the costumes for the Turtles in the comic books. I kind of dig the utility belt Leo has in the drawing. I believe Leo's mutation was the ability to morph his skin into a nearly impenetrable chrome-like surface, shades of Ben Boxer from the Jack Kirby's Commandy comics." The next post was of Splinter. It starts off by saying, "Here's another design idea for the unfilmed 4th live-action movie. We wanted to give Splinter a much more active part in the battles that the Turtles fought, and so he was going to have the ability to morph into a big, lithe, muscular, super rat mutant type of thing." Then you see an image of a hulked out Splinter. I believe I've seen another post saying that the tail would have been used as a whip or something like that. Now after Splinter, we got a post of Michelangelo. The top says, "This is one more of the proposed redesigns for the unfilmed 4th live-action movie. Here we gave Mikey a more street look because his new mutation gave him the ability to project a human appearance onto his turtle features, allowing him to interact freely with humans." Then we see a picture of Mikey with some clothes on, a pirate-style bandana, but it doesn't go over the eyes. He appears to holster his nunchucks on his forearms and is wearing flip-flops. Now Raphael has the most savage type of transformation. In Raphael's post it reads, "This is the last of the proposed redesigns of the unfilmed 4th live-action TMNT movie. One of our ideas was to give Raph the ability to morph into what we were calling Raptor Raph, complete with big, gnashy teeth and claws to complement his big, gnashy personality. Now, he appears to holster his sai on his thighs, no belt, no accessories, headband seems like your regular Ninja Turtles headband, but a little torn up. Now, the promotional picture of this potential movie that you see over here on the Turtlepedia page shows this Raphael down at the bottom with his new mutation, and with the title up on top, The Next Mutation. In 2011, the blog TMNT Entity wrote an extensive post on this movie that could have been. It's a great blog, by the way, that covers Turtles really well. Go check it out if you're a Turtles fan. Now, in that blog post, TMNT Entity points out that this teaser image originated from a CBS promotional comic, CBS Action Zone 1, which was released in 1994 to promote the Saturday morning cartoons that they had going on at the time. Now, in this movie, it was likely that the Turtles were going to use a dimensional doorway. At least I think it was this movie, you see. This is where the waters get a little muddy. This is where streams cross. This is, for me at least, where it's a little hard to see. Let's keep going. There's a picture of the design of this doorway, yet again over on Peter Layard's blog. It reads, here on page 35 of the sketchbook, I got my Kirby on, as Ken Mitrani used to say. And on November 8, 1994, drew what I described in the handwritten note on the page as a possible design for the machine, which creates the dimensional doorway for movie number 4. And like he said, it's dated 1994 there. He closes off by saying, I don't remember all the details of the story or stories for the proposed 4th live action movie we discussed back then, but I do recall that this was one way we were considering introducing a new turtle character. A new turtle character? In 2013, Laird shares some images that seem to show a 5th turtle. The turtle looks very Predator inspired. He has a weapon on a chain and hooks or spikes on the top of his shell and a long tail. Sadly, it's not dated, but underneath it says, I kind of like this drawing, but in all honesty, I'm glad this movie never got made. Next to this post, you can see other attempts at the 5th turtle, ranging from a bunch of different styles. Now, some of you may be asking, how did the waters get muddy? This seems pretty clear cut. Well, let's take a look over on the other side at another movie that was being developed around the same time, or that this morphed into. I'm not really sure. Let's take a look. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, The Foot Walks Again. Another 4th movie that was in the works? You see, there was an auction in 2012 with the title Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Memorabilia Lot of 25, featuring previously unseen screenplay for the unproduced 4th movie. The description reads, while memorabilia from all 3 Turtles movies is included here, the highlight is 3 versions of the screenplay of the unproduced 4th film, which have never been seen by the public. Further down in the description it says, Kevin Eastman on the unfilmed 4th movie. TMNT Movie 1 broke all kinds of records when it came out in March of 1990, 125 million. And Movie 2 did pretty well at 80 million box office dollars the following year. Movie 3, a softer hit at 42 million in 1993, but all 3 were still incredibly strong VHS sales, so New Line Cinema and Mirage Studios started laying down the groundwork for a 4th film. I was doing most of the traveling for the company at this point and began regular trips to Los Angeles to work with the writers and run the progress back to Mirage HQ in Northampton, Massachusetts. After 2 drafts were completed, New Line abandoned the project, and a year later, Motion Picture Corporation of America optioned the rights, and I continued to work on behalf of Mirage Studios developing ideas for the picture. And as with the original New Line draft, this version also featured a 5th TMNT character we would introduce, named after our main inspiration / hero, Jack King Kirby. This version of the film also ended up being abandoned, and all character designs I had worked up in that time period, 1995 to 1997, were put back on the shelf, published only once in Kevin Eastman's TMNT autobiography, and the scripts have never been released to the public. Now, although it doesn't go into specifics, maybe an earlier version that he spoke of was the Next Mutation movie we just talked about earlier. But in this auction, you can see a cover of one of the scripts, and its title is TMNT 4, The Foot Walks Again. Most likely the version after Motion Picture Corporation of America optioned the rights and he continued working on the picture. Now, this auction has more info pertaining to this unfilmed 4th movie. Character designs for the uncompleted project appear to be shown. Now, if you look over on Turtlepedia, these designs are under the Foot Walks Again title and not the Next Mutation title, so take that as you will, but in any case, the characters that were revealed through the auction are pretty interesting. We see concepts again of, yes, the 5th turtle, Kirby. Some of the images are in color. Here he can be seen wearing a white bandana. He appears to have tiger stripe patterns on his limbs and along his face, and wields this blunt dagger with spiky knuckles on the handle. The picture is dated 1994, and is drawn by Eastman. He can be seen in a similar fashion in another image. In this image, he has a black bandana though, and what looks like an insignia on his chest. This one is also dated 1994, it would appear. A third image that's in color can be seen of Kirby, this time with the pinkish purplish bandana and a blue tattered cape. 2 out of the 3 images have written in the bottom corner, Movie 4. Other black and white images of Kirby can be seen as well, some being dated as late as 1995. Now this appeared to be pretty close to happening, at least by the looks of things. In 2009, on a Flickr.com account under the name Von Michael, images from a 1996 Playmates catalog were posted. I would imagine these were sent to retailers previewing the upcoming figures so that retailers could start their pre-orders before the release dates of the toys. Anyhow, there's a page that stands out particularly in this catalog, which shows the Turtles logo, but underneath it says TMNT 4. The description underneath reads, "Look out for the 4th and hottest turtle feature film ever. It's a weird world of parallel dimensions and gothic proportions. Playmates is backing it all the way with a multi-million-dollar promotional campaign and a massive amount of Mutant movie turtle toys." Then it has some bullet points, most notably one that says Mega Mutant Audacious Blockbuster Live-Action Feature Film from Trimark Pictures. Trimark Pictures? I don't think they were involved with the first 3 movies. Maybe this was after New Line abandoned the project and the Motion Picture Corporation of America optioned the rights, like it said earlier in the auction. Other pages in the catalog talk about the 4th movie some more. On page 15, there's an excerpt that says TMNT Movie 4 premieres late 1996. The last 3 Fab films grossed over $300 million. So the movie was gonna introduce a 5th turtle and parallel dimensions, which explains Laird's image of a dimension doorway and some of the concept art from the auctions. This image right here appearing to show the turtles, with the help of potentially evil April, we'll get to her in a minute, working together to try to pull or save what looks to be Kirby, the 5th turtle, out of the dimensional doorway that was shown earlier on Laird's blog. At least that's what it looks like is happening. You can see the hands of the figure in the doorway have claw-like features that resemble some of the concept art for Kirby. Further concept art shows other characters. This is the evil April I was talking about earlier. She's carrying a sword and it's dressed like she's from another world, probably a parallel dimension. And that goes for this version of Casey as well, which looks like was going to have electric powered fist and whose name was going to be spelled with a K, probably also because he's from another dimension. Other characters included were a character named Talbot, who looks kinda Terminator-esque, foot soldiers with guns as shown here, a character named Bugman, who was supposed to wear white contacts and have unseen eyes and look like this, but he also could have looked like this. There was also this Fang character who appears to have been a Cyberfoot with cloak, and there was the character of Spider who looked like this, and from what it looks like, Spider would have another form, Nano Spider. Watch out for the word nano as it gets brought up a little bit later. Probably one of the biggest things to come out of the concept art is that Super Shredder would have been back. You can see him here in an unmasked, straggly haired form with a new outfit. There seems to be another unmasked form that is simply titled Shredder, not Super Shredder anymore. In 2019 on the PJ and Pals podcast, Kevin Eastman did an interview. Go check it out, by the way. On the interview, Kevin Eastman briefly touches on a 4th movie that never happened, specifically details about Shredder in that 4th movie. He says Shredder got put back together with nanobots. Now that explains some of the designs in the character concepts, Nano Spider, and just some of the aesthetics in some of the other characters as well, if this is the movie he was referring to. Now, funny enough, the 2012 Nickelodeon show had an episode named The Foot Walks Again. I can't confirm if this was on purpose, but I'd put my money on it. Anyways, this story of a 5th turtle starting right after Turtles 3 appears to have kept getting reworked and reworked for years. Rumors citing that this happened all the way until the late 90s. Now, we started entering the early 2000s, and yet again, something appeared to be in development.